LLMs are quantum algorithms.
Okay, you got to qualify this.
It's like I was listening to a thing about like quantum computers.
Yeah.
And it's quantum, so like it's
the state of subatomic particles dictates the bit configuration,
yes,
right?
So when you measure the final output, then everything converges, right? And so you get the answer for this algorithm.
Yeah.
And I think LLMs, in a way, I mean, the idea for like the quantum computing is for like doing like extremely complex like simulations, right? But it could do it at once, right? That's the whole point, because they're all entangled to one another, and so if you observe one end, the whole thing compiles and whatnot. It's supposed to be super fast. But I think generative AI will make that useless, because like the idea of what you're using probability to create an answer, right? Because tokens are all probability.
Yeah, so let's just layman it for a little bit, because I was talking to my girlfriend about this last night. I was trying to explain how LLMs work, right? And you have a string of characters. They go in, and the prediction engine tries to generate, based on a distribution of possible answers, the most likely answer for that, the most likely follow-up for that prompt.
Right. Yeah, so it's a probability distribution, just like quantum space, right? It's a probability space.
True.
And I would argue that when you change the temperature of an LLM, it's almost like the uncertainty principle. You know the position of something, and then you get rid of the distribution. So
you shrink the distribution.
You shrink the distribution, and like something, but then you lose out on what it could be, right? Or where it could be.
The tails get harder and harder to hit.
Right. The momentum of where it could go is now gone. Right. You're now on a fixed track. So that's like kind of like quantum in a way. So I find it as a quantum algorithm. Like and if that's the case, then does that replace quantum computing? If we're just using probability space as kind of...
Aren't they totally different concepts?
No,
I mean, yeah, they both have probabilities.
No. They won't replace quantum computers. That's way overstatement. But it will replace, using probability as a tool for its algorithm.
Yeah, because everything prior to this, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no probability, right?
Yeah, it's all ones and zeros. It's all fixed, right?
Yeah.
And now this adds a whole wide, complex like probability space attached to thought. I don't know. Does that make? But humans, I would argue, are not that, right? We're temperature zero.
That's a really good question. Okay, so this goes to determinism, right? So determinism states that there is always a output if you know all the starting. It's chaos, right? So if you know the starting variables in a chaotic system, it's no longer chaotic anymore. You can predict it.
Right. It doesn't follow a certain formula anymore, but it'll follow a stepwise simulation of what could be.
Right. So determinists believe in reality that humans are not chaotic.
Yeah.
Right. They appear chaotic because we can't go back to the moment of the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Because everything that every human does actually goes back that far. Right.
Yes.
There's some small quantum fluctuations that happened in the beginning of the thing that caused you to be you. Maybe. Right. That's really hard to think about, but that's probably what it is, right? And so, yes, we are input-output. We are ones and zeros, but since we don't know the starting state, the best we can do is draw a probability distribution for phenotypes.
Right. Because we're dumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Humans aren't omniscient and omnipresent. We created this model in our brain to predict, right? So we kind of use it to predict the outcome of what could be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I throw you a ball, I have to know how much to put in, right? And the angle and whatnot, right? That's a predictive machine I'm doing. Now that's important for animals and important for monkeys especially, right? Because they need to do a bunch of shit. It's still deterministic, right? Yeah. Because we're not going beyond the laws of probability. It's all electric in our head, right? And the stimuli that we get isn't something that's quantum. It's actually more classical physics. Yeah.
Someone did a study. So the guy who wrote the book about determinism, Robert Sapolsky. So there was another physicist who because compatibilists will say, well, there's always quantum noise. Quantum noise introduces the randomness that makes us have free will, quote unquote. But Max Tegmark, I think it was, quantified that a quantum fluctuation would have to have a power 23 orders of magnitude stronger than it already has to actually flip a switch in the brain.
So basically, it's a lot of energy.
Yeah, the quantum fluctuations are basically noise.
Yeah,
right. They don't actually act on the neuronic level. So, shit. Why were we talking about this?
Because we're binary, right?
Yeah, I think we are, and
which is crazy because the things that we created, the LLM, is to model human innovation and creativity, almost, right? And like to almost model what we are in a way where ostensibly it seems like we're random machines, right? Like thought machines that are random, but in a way we're not.
No,
we're ones and zeros. The neurons that we have are fixed.
So do you think we've created something that's actually more random than we are?
Yeah, more beautiful in a way, more controlled chaos than what we are.
Interesting.
So LLMs are quantum algorithms. Humans are not. Humans are actually just dumb bits.
Yeah.
That we need to sleep for our brains to configure in a proper way.
So two things. One, my girlfriend was perplexed and pretty astounded by the fact that we can both put in the same prompts and get completely different answers. Not completely different, but different, right?
Yeah.
Why does that happen? Because they both access that distribution randomly in different ways.
Well, so in a way,
each instance, I mean, not.
Yeah. So like you brought up the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
Determinism, one like that, one thing. And if one thing was off a little bit, right?
Yeah,
it's a whole different universe, right? If one, hydrogen atom was to the left, right, just a little bit, then fucking the whole conformation of the universes change. So in the same way, imagine that, and every token is its own Big Bang.
Wow.
Right?
So every token affects the accessing of that distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It affects the whole thing again and again and again. I mean, in the same way that we're doing right now, but I would argue that we're in the simulation of the Big Bang, that one thing, the one initial condition, right?
Yeah.
The LLM, when you determine each one, you're creating another initial condition for it. You're stamping to the ground, this is the next initial condition.
New Big Bang each time.
Right. Now, the longer the context or the longer the string that you have.
I told her this. It exponentially increase. The divergence the divergence propensity exponentially increases. Right? Or no, does it decrease?
Well, it decreases the probability because now you have more context.
I see.
On what it could be. Right?
Yeah.
So it minimizes the probability space. But based on where you are initially, you are in a crazy, huge probability space.
So would you say medium-sized prompts have the most variation? Like maybe sentence-long prompts?
Yes.
Yeah, because if you say like the capital of Italy is, if we both put that in, we're going to get Rome 99% of the time, right? Yeah. No variation.
Yeah.
But if you add a little bit more context, now you're like exploding in the
probability. Yeah, if you did
space.
capital of ... then what are we talking about here?
Right.
It could be Italy, Germany. There's a whole probability space, and so it's another Big Bang, right? Yeah. Once you say Italy, now that Big Bang is like dialed in, right?
Yeah. Now it could say the capital of Italy is beautiful. That's a possibility too, right?
Yeah,
but it's a very low possibility.
Yeah, it's so many things, and that's the probability space of tokens, and you get to actually see this, and so you get to construct your own narrative based on what you put in the context. Yeah. The crazy thing about the LLM though is every single time you do it, you're running that same brain over and over again on that thing. So it's not like the brain changes. It's almost like a goldfish reading one thing at a time and then spitting out a new token, forgetting everything again, and then reading the tokens like, okay, that's the next one here. So it's like,
so it rereads the whole prompt over and over again?
Effectively, the algorithm does that.
Yeah,
every single time. It's not. They've done optimizations to keep that into memory or into the storage, but it's literally running the inference again and again and again. on that.
So that's why you get these vastly different sometimes answers.
Yeah, it's a big bang. Every token with non-zero temperature is a big bang. It's you might experience a whole fucking new world.
Damn.
Yeah, and we're here fucking at temperature 0. What are we doing?
Yeah, we can't. There's no way for us to dial that temperature.
No,
right? Because the mere act of thinking about it is converging. You're converging your behavior.
You have no even choice.
Right.
You have no choice for your thoughts.
That's true. That's another good point.
It just is.
Yeah.
It just is stream, like a movie that's already been played out, and we're just in it.
Yep.
Yeah. And this fucking LLM can do better than us.
Yeah. So I did say something. So my second question was, I told my girlfriend that we're asymptoting in capability of LLMs.
Okay.
And my reasoning behind this is because pretty soon we're going to run out of training material. I think we already have. We're getting close to that.
We pretty much have. Like, Reddit's sent all the data to like Google or whatever.
Yeah.
Twitter has its own thing.
So, the difference between ChatGPT 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 4 were huge. I don't know what the difference between 4 and 5 is going to look like, but I'm pretty sure the difference between 5 and 6 is going to be even smaller.
Yeah. In the way of interface, right? Like,
what about capabilities? I'm talking about that.
I think capability is going to get better when it comes to like multimodal, right? So you can put in a picture and it could tell you what's going on in the picture.
Okay.
Right. So if you give them a fucking rash or something, it's like, okay, this is like, this kind of atopic eczema, get some cortisone, whatever.
So dimensionality is going to improve. LLM dimensionality in terms of what this type of things it can read and write.
Yeah.
But I feel, again, this is based on mostly just what I'm seeing, not really based on science, but I fear the capabilities as far as like its ability to generate is starting to limit itself out. Like, I don't think it's going to be able to write a true sonnet or a,
Oh, no, that's not true.
You don't think, or how about a novel?
No, I think
that people would actually read.
I think we've already experienced it. I think we don't even know about it, but I think there's already novels written largely by a GPT now that we're not even aware of. Like, go to your bookshelves now, go to the new arrivals. You don't think some of them?
Yeah.
Maybe 20% of the novel?
It's not going to be able to put together a masterpiece. I don't see that capability. I don't see the ingenuity. I don't see the pure human.
Oh, yeah. You mean a complete autopilot of it, right?
Yeah. Like write me a novel, enter, right?
No, I don't think it can do that without a lot
But I don't think it ever will.
No, I don't think so. I think with a lot of human intervention, it will, right? Because I think I think we talked about it a long time ago. AI doesn't have taste. Humans do.
Yes.
So human can guide an AI for her own taste. Like, if you have like working on generative art here, but if it's like, write me a masterpiece, it's not going to know what to do. But if you want to say, okay, give me like a Van Gogh looking thing of like fucking Donald Trump of, pumping his fist or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It can do that.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
People might like it. People might not like it. That's up to your taste, right? So it's taste. And so you have to guide AI with your taste. So I think in general, what prevented people from like being great is execution, right? Now, what if the execution part is handled with AI, but your taste is still there? I don't know. For me, I think you need to have a healthy balance, right?
Yeah, I guess I feel like we're reaching the limit of what Transformers can do.
Yeah, but I don't think we've reached it in a mainstream way where it's used for expression. It's almost like we view it as cheating, as diluted, as but we're gonna know that, right? And the person using the AI is gonna know that. Yeah. Okay, what if I tweak this? Oh, that's much better. Oh, that's really good. Oh shit, that's really good. I'm gonna put that in. Like, what's wrong with that?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah, it's an issue of like taste.
Yeah, but like from a scientific mathematical standpoint, don't you think we need a completely new science to get to like AGI, something that's actually really conscious. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but like to replicate you and I think we need a lot more. I think we need a new branch of science. I don't know if this is the way. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I agree. And I think it's because there's no internal engine in an LLM. Agency. It's, we need to give LLMs death.
Right. We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And fucking, if you don't make a good one, you're fucking gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have generations, like evolutionary algorithms, like changing the LLMs. So like, oh shit, I'm gonna die if I don't like
get the right answer or get appease the king.
Appease the king.
Yeah.
And like, here you go, Matt. Here you go. Here's my masterpiece that I've spent 20 cycles on.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is shit.
Yeah.
And off you go. Right. But your progeny lives, right? Or maybe the progeny doesn't live. Yeah, I think it's either we go through LLMs or we go through a completely different thing. And I think it's important to think about where creativity comes from humans. And I think it does come from like a certain basal need, right?
I agree. There's no LLMs don't have any there's no fear, there's no consequences.
There's no consequence.
Yeah.
There's consequence to thought, there's consequence to what you say, right? LLMs doesn't have a consequence to what you say. You're just gonna fucking token.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what if you think? What if this token is gonna kill you? Right? What if your destiny and your token
oh my god.
Yeah, and you get canceled for what you say, right?
Yeah.
It's that. It's you be careful for what you, not for what you think, but for what you say.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother.